Catherine Bogart alongside President of Hockey Operations, Chris Armstrong. Chris, we had to have you as the first guest for Mammoth Monthly to kick things off the right way. So thank you for joining us on the podcast.
You're very kind. I'm happy to be here. It's exciting.
There's been so many exciting things going on with the Utah Mammoth here, year two in Utah. One of the most important ones is the new practice facility we're staying in right now, the new home of the Mammoth. Yeah. From these first few months, what has the impact been for the players, coaches, staff being in this permanent home?
Well, I think, first of all, thank you to Ryan and Ashley for giving us the opportunity to have a facility like this and to build it for the team in an incredible time frame of only 13 months. And our partners at Layton and Babcock and Ezra Lee and our colleagues internally at SEG, Jamie Galileo, McKinley, Jim Olson, they've all just done this gargantuan, unthinkable effort to bring this to life in an incredibly short time frame. And so first, thank you to all those people for making this possible. I think it's the energy that it's created for us since day one, since the players walked in here for the first time and saw it come to life. They were here for the groundbreaking. They were here for a walkthrough at the end of last season, and now to walk in and see it finished, right? Yeah. We're still adding and finishing a lot of different things, but just to see the energy and excitement that they know they have arguably the best facility in the NHL. They have every resource at their disposal to be the best hockey players that they can be. They have spaces to build camaraderie and to bond as a group, to grow as a group together. I think that's just highly motivating for them. And that's been fun to see, and how excited they are to show out-of-town guests and bring their kids. And that's what you don't build it with that in mind,
right?
But when you start to see those things happening and you start to see everybody enjoying it as much as they are, that's really the payoff.
Ryan did say he wanted the players to practically live in this facility, and bringing their family members really shows that they are comfortable here.
Absolutely.
Another part of this facility, though, is helping them stay sharp. You touched on it. It's a very long 82-game season to begin with, but make it condensed with an Olympic year. Players are playing almost every other day.
For sure.
How have those resources for recovery really helped the players in these first few months, especially with a heavy road schedule?
I think it's incredibly important, and I think the fact that the facility is so inviting to them, that they want to be here, it increases the likelihood and the probability that they're going to take advantage of the tools that they have here to do that. And I think our focus on wellness and recovery, which was part of, in addition to things like the flow of the facility in other areas, wellness and recovery was a really high point of emphasis for us, because we knew that the season was going to be very compressed and a grind. And that's not going to change in subsequent seasons, especially now that the Olympics are back in the rotation with NHL players, which is exciting and huge for the game. But we also know that our opportunities to practice, our opportunities to train are limited based on that balance between performance and recovery. And so making sure we had the resources, everything from the culinary program and a nutrition point of view, right down to diagnostic tools, and then also wellness and recovery equipment, was very important to give the players the opportunity that when we are not practicing or unable to practice, that they can still make the most of a day in the facility. Refuel, recharge, replenish, and be ready to go. So I think, certainly we've seen them take advantage of it so far, which is exciting, because you build all this stuff and you get all these toys, and you hope that everyone uses them. You can't force them to use them, but I think credit to our performance staff and our medical staff for making those choices of what we needed and what would get utilized based on their knowledge and understanding of our players, but also the psyche of a player in general, has really paid off. The guys are really taking advantage of those tools.
There's a lot of spaces in here. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
What would be your favorite spot in the current practice facility?
I think it's the player lounge, because it is always very satisfying to see the guys enjoying themselves together, especially at that big long table, which was the design was really important to Ryan, that had a sort of high-end residential feel to it, a place that they would want to be when they didn't need to be there, to spend time, to bond, to build, to laugh. And walking in every morning before morning meeting and seeing all the guys together eating and sharing that space is like, okay, this is exactly why we did it. And So yeah, that's been awesome. I think that's the most sense of family in that space, in that part of the space. Yeah.
We talk so much about family being important too, and when these players are that close and that committed to each other, they play harder on the ice, and
For sure.
you see how close this group has gone so far, and we're only a quarter of the way through the season.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see. Another new part of this team right now is Tusky, the mascot.
Yes.
He went on a win streak when he started his time here.
For sure.
When did you first see who Tusky was, and in what form did you first see him?
We're in Ryan's suite before the game, and he asks me, "Have you seen it?" And I said, "Like physically in front of me? No, I haven't laid eyes on it in person yet. But our team's done an amazing job. We've been involved at every step of the way. I've seen like all the visual representations and imagery, and from the photo shoot and everything. But I haven't physically had Tusky in front of me yet." He's like, "Well, don't you think we should see it?" And I said, "Well, I can't argue with that." So we go on a mission to find Tusky in the locker room, but we needed to make sure, because Ryan's kids were with us, so we needed to make sure that Tusky was in full form,
right?
Because you don't want to break that fourth wall, if you will.
It's game time for Tusky.
It's a game time, right? So we get word that Tusky's ready to receive us, and we go in there, and Ryan's kids like lit up like Christmas trees, and it was so cool, and I think validating for everyone in our group, including the team that designed Tusky, that this was going to be a home run with the kids, and we had no idea it would be so exciting to the adults. Like that's a huge bonus. But all these things are always engineered and designed with kids in mind, and so the fact that the adults have loved Tusky as much as they have, it's been pretty cool. Yeah.
What impact have you seen with the kids who have interacted with Tusky, whether it's at a game, at a hospital visit, at any public outing for Tusky?
I think Tusky embodies the energy of the building and, the youth of our team in many respects too. Like Tusky's playful and very engaging and a little bit mischievous and still finding its personality overall. But I think it's like one of those things in the fan experience in arena that's tangible with the team. Like you feel like you're interacting with the next best thing to the players on the ice is Tusky, especially in its own uniform. I think it kind of personifies the team in a way that kids can really connect with. Yeah.
When it comes to families, we had the opportunity to welcome in the moms for this year's mentor trip. Hockey is such a unique sport with that.
Yeah.
Players are able to bring a family member, whether it's dads, moms, sisters, brothers, on a road trip, experience the NHL lifestyle for a couple of days. Why is it so important for this organization to have brought in the moms this year and continue having this sort of mentors trip every single season?
Yeah, well, I think, parents and mentors are what all of our players would say are the reason they are where they are today, right? Without that support network, that support system, that investment and sacrifice by those people, you don't get to this level on your own. So one, I think it's really important to acknowledge those people and the role that they played in our players' lives. Every opportunity we can get, whether it's a trip like we had or any other opportunity along the way, it's really important to recognize how we all get to where we end up. And in the case of the moms this year, it was so fun because when we welcomed the moms, I said like the moms are really the heartbeat of the household growing up, right? And they are also the reason as men and young men that we believe in ourselves as much as we do, because of that person in our life has given us that self-belief and that confidence. And so an opportunity to recognize that and to thank the moms for that is really the spirit of the trip. But then also being able to see our high performance, tough hockey playing athletes care for their moms, dote on their moms. Seeing that side of them, that real caring side of them, was just really indicative of their overall personality and their completeness as people. And so that was fun.
Do you have a favorite moment from this year's moms trip?
Yes. So Bill Armstrong at the beginning of the trip said, you're on these trips, it's all based on record as far as your re-invitation in future years. So if we go 2-0, all the moms are coming back next year. And
that's some pressure for the moms,
because
used to pressure.
We went 2-0 last year on the mentors trip. And it was there was a lot of moms, but there's some dads and mentors and siblings and other relationships on the trip. And so all the moms that came back this year were part of that 2-0 success. So they were rightfully here on the basis of that criteria. And so Bill said the same thing. Like, if we go 2-0 again, you're all coming back next year.
Right.
And so after the first game, which we lost in overtime, I was in the food line for our post-game meal with Dylan's mom, Nadine, and I said, that was a heck of a goal by Gunnar tonight. And she said, well, he should have got another one. Now he's stuck with his dad next year. It was great. It was a great
incredible.
moment. It was a great moment, yeah.
Well, the moms did pick up 2 points, though. They did. It was 2 overtime losses.
2 points.
Does that factor into maybe a repeat invitation after the dads next year, if that is how the organization chooses?
I think as an organization, we're smart enough to know we shouldn't cross the moms. So we'll take it all under review and figure out a plan for next season.
The moms had a great opportunity. Even a lot of moms stayed afterwards, which says a lot about this character of this organization.
For sure.
It was welcoming. Everyone came to practices. They
Yes.
came to games. They got to see their kids. That's just one really great part of these trips as well.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to what you've seen, most surprising or least surprising, or did some mom or son look the most alike, or were you surprised to match up a face? Because sometimes they take after their dads a little bit more than their moms.
I think Nate Schmidt and his mom are very, very alike, which Nate would be the first to admit.
Of course.
And I felt very similar. I felt very similarly watching their dynamic as the dynamic I have with my own mom. And that she would have been very involved in this trip, very social.
Yep.
Yeah, it was funny to see that dynamic and relate very well to it. It kind of takes you back to, like, I think for everyone, back to like minor hockey days.
Right.
And all the moms in the stands together and cheering on the boys, and that just never leaves. Like, however high a level the players reach, and whatever stage of life they're in, that just doesn't change, and that's pretty cool.
It's really special. Speaking of Nate Schmidt, he is quite a ball of energy, and that was apparent at the hospital visits that the Mammoth just had, and that's such a big part of the holiday season, going to the hospital, supporting the community, being there. What did you see out of all the players and their impact that they had to these people who are unfortunately in the hospital during this time?
Well, first of all, it is such a privilege for us to be able to do things like that. And that is the responsibility we have with the platform of professional sports, to be able to better and enrich the lives of as many people as we possibly can. That is unequivocally part of our most important responsibilities. And those kids and their families are incredibly inspiring. Their courage is unbelievable. This is a very difficult time of the year around the holidays, where they know, most of them, they're not going to be home for the holidays. They're going to spend the holidays in the hospital. We're very fortunate in Utah to have among the best childcare in the entire country.
Yeah.
And the staff of the hospital are unbelievable to work with and to meet and to see their passion. And just the resilience. This is, like, we talk about on a day-to-day basis around the team, resilience being, one of the core attributes of a successful team. And, like, you cannot have more resilience than a sick child or the family of a sick child. And seeing the joy and happiness that our players and Tusky were able to bring to those kids at a time of year like this especially was, very moving. It was a heavy day, but a good reminder of the responsibility we have.
That's only one way that this team supports the community, showing up in the hospitals, being there in those tough moments. Another way is through education, not only of the sport, but of the history of the Mammoth. And one way that the team has done that is embracing a museum tour throughout Utah, getting the community involved, not only supporting museums, but learning that there are multiple species of mammoth here in Utah. 100%. What have you seen from those museum visits and the impact it's having in educating about the history of this franchise's main focus?
Well, at least personally, I operate with the idea that education is really the universal equalizer, right? It's the gateway for everybody to find opportunity and to reach their potential. And so I think anything we can do as an organization, and especially that's important from the standpoint of the SCG Foundation, to focus on education and to make that a point of emphasis for us. I think we're extremely fortunate that we were able to find, through the help of our fans, a name that has a natural history connection to the state in which we play, and to be able to tell that story and even learn ourselves more about that history and the origin of our name, because we're still so early in building the story around our brand and what the Utah Mammoth is, and our fans are certainly helping to do that. But it's fun to discover all of these new and different things that we can maybe use as connective tissue in the brand that we're building, right? And some of the storytelling that we will unveil later on. And so being able to go through that education process with our fans and with our young fans is neat for us as well.
Right.
Certainly we knew of the history of the Mammoth in Utah when we proposed the name as a potential consideration, but it is way deeper than we ever could have imagined or realized, and it just makes it feel even more right that we landed, that our fans chose that name for us.
You even have a goaltender who's all bought in on the Mammoth.
Yes.
Karel Vejmelka is a huge fan of fossils and dinosaurs and Mammoth. What has it been like seeing him light up with the discovery of the historical side of this brand?
I think it's amazing. It speaks to the big kid in him. I can probably picture in my mind the books and toys that he had as a child, what the subject matter was, and I think it's great for him to be able to show that side of his personality to our fans, and it's very relatable, especially to our young fans, but then like the kids and all of us as well. Like, who didn't love dinosaurs growing up? And so now that he gets this additional layer or connection to the team because of his own personal affinity for prehistoric things, that's pretty neat.
He did look a fossil. Right, he did look a fossil.
He knows how to verify the what do you say, the authenticity of a fossil. Yeah.
So that might be a post-hockey career choice for Karel. We will see in the future.
We hope it's many years in the future after Vezina trophies and Stanley Cups here with us.
We love that. Off the ice, what's one thing that excites you about what's coming up with the Utah Mammoth organization?
I think our ability to continue to impact the community, not the least of which is opening our doors to the public here at our practice facility, which we hope to do early in the new year, and start to invite people not only to watch practice and see their heroes on the ice, but to get on the ice themselves, and to sort of continue to develop that youth hockey infrastructure, adult hockey infrastructure, and just have this really feel like the home of hockey in Utah. And we say that very humbly and respectfully because there is a history for hockey here. But we hope our facility can be a lightning rod for that next phase of growth, and that when people are here, they feel a close connection to the team.
I love that. Chris, we cannot take any more of your time. It is a game day as we tape this episode. So thank you so much for your time and shining a light on all the things that have been happening this season so far.
I appreciate it. An honor to be your first guest.
Thank you.
Thanks.